Mr. Tyler, you say you'd known Mr. Matton for about 5 years.
Yes, sir. He was a pretty regular performer at my club since 1968 when we opened, sir.
How long was each booking?
Oh, a week, sir. We couldn't get him for more. He was always in great demand on the continent, sir.
And how many times would you book him during a year?
Oh, 2 or 3 times, sir. He was very popular.
So you said. Was this last occasion the only time he'd had a row with his wife in your presence?
No, sir, no. They had a bust-up every time.
And were his affairs with other women the cause of these bust-ups?
Yeah, well, as I say, he couldn't keep away from it.
Had Mrs. Matson ever threatened her husband in your presence before?
Oh, several times, sir.
Could you be more specific, please?
Well, I'll try, sir. I mean, there was one time, it was last year, I think, that she went after him with a pair of scissors.
Did she injure him at all?
No.
What happened?
Well, he just grabbed her and belted her one.
He struck her?
Yes, sir.
Were there other occasions?
Yeah, lots. I don't know if I can remember them. There was once when she tried to hit him with a bottle of rubbing alcohol.
And did Mr. Matson protect himself?
He gave her a black eye, sir. Oh, she had to use a lot of extra makeup on that eye that night. That was the only time that any of their rows ever affected their performance.
What do you mean exactly?
Well, as I say, she had to put an awful lot of extra makeup on the eye.
Would it be true to say, then, that they never let their personal differences interfere with the act?
Oh, no, sir. Norman was far too much of a pro, sir. He always used to leave his private feelings in the dressing room.
And what about Mrs. Matson? When she was on stage, would she ever allow her anger or jealousy to show?
No, sir.
Would you say that she was a real pro, too?
Well, she had to be, working with Norman, sir. I mean, she'd been with him for 8 years. They'd been married for 6.
Now, about this question of the change of the routine of the act on the night that Mr. Matson died, you say that Mrs. Matson loaded one of the guns herself.
Yes, sir.
And that you'd never seen her do this before.
I hadn't, sir, no.
Did Mr. Matson object or give any indication that he was unhappy with her action?
No, sir.
Would you have expected him to do so if you thought there was any danger?
My lord, my learned friend is asking the witness to make a comment, and besides, Mr. Tyler has already stated that he doesn't know how this particular illusion was performed.
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Elliot, but on the other hand, I think we should be grateful for any light that this witness can throw on the mechanics of the illusion. Mr. Fry, if you could rephrase your question slightly.
With pleasure, my lord. Mr. Tyler, would you say that Mr. Matson was a very careful man when it came to preparing for his act?
Oh, he was more than careful, sir. He was meticulous. I mean, he wouldn't let anyone touch his guns except on stage.
Did this include his wife?
It included everybody, sir.
Did Mr. Matson ever explain why?
Well, yes, sir. He said that with an act like his, he couldn't afford to take risks.
Yet muzzle-loading rifles are not in common everyday use, are they?
I suppose not.
Would you say that many of your customers were familiar with muzzle-loading weapons?
No.
Then how did they know how to load Mr. Matson's guns?
Well, Rita would tell them what to do.
Just tell them?
Well, sometimes she'd start to load one of the guns to show the volunteer what to do.
So she would sometimes pour the powder into the barrel of one of the guns herself?
Yes, sir, and then she'd hand it to the volunteer to finish off.
Is this what happened on this occasion?
No, sir, no. On this occasion, actually, she went through the whole rigmarole herself. She put the powder in and then the silver bullet, and she tamped them all down with a ramrod.
And what about the other gun?
Oh, no, that was loaded by the other volunteers.
Now, let's be quite precise about this, Mr. Tyler, because it may be important later on. The only change in the routine in the night that Mr. Matson was shot was that Mrs. Matson put the bullet into the gun herself and then rammed it down with a ramrod.
That is correct, sir.
But Mr. Matson made no objection to this.
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler.
I wish to clarify 1 or 2 points, my lord. Mr. Tyler, when you say that Mrs. Matson never allowed her jealousy or anger to show on stage, you're merely describing her behaviour.
Yes, sir.
So you cannot know how this actress, this real pro, I think you called her, you cannot know how she felt beneath her masquerade.
Well, no, not really, sir. I bet she was a bit choked, but she never seemed to show it.
Mr. Elliot, it is for the jury to make up their minds what the accused felt, if it is relevant, not for the witness.
I'm aware of that, my lord. Now, the act you described to us with Matson as the unkillable Dracula must have required a good deal of acting ability on the part of Mrs. Matson.
Well, yes, sir. I mean, she wasn't just any ordinary illusionist assistant, sir. You know, I mean, she had to do the patters, she had to act scared. And when her dress was torn off, she had to flash her... Well, she had to die very effectively.
Now, when Mrs. Matson took it upon herself to load the gun, what was Mr. Matson doing?
Well, he was waving his cloak about, sir, like wings, you know. He was doing his sinister bit, the sort of, the hideous laugh. He was trying to frighten the audience.
Is it possible that he didn't see his wife loading the gun?
I don't know.
Please think carefully about your answer, Mr. Tyler.
Well, I can't be sure, sir, but I suppose he might not have seen what Rita was doing.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler.
You may stand down, Mr. Tyler.
Call Dorothy Greenway, please.
Dorothy Greenway, please.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the testimony on right hand and read aloud the words on this card. I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You're Miss Dorothy Greenway of 17A St Bernard's Road, Birmingham.
I am.
What is your profession, please?
I'm a dancer.
And how old are you?
22.
How long had you known the deceased?
Oh, 2 months.
And where had you first met?
We met at the Vegas Club in Newcastle. Norman was performing there.
And was Mrs. Matson with him?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Mr. Matson?
With all respect, I really don't see how this can be relevant.
I think I do, Mr. Fry, and I think it is advisable. I think the court should explore the deceased's affections for other women as well as his relationship with the accused.
I'll repeat my question, Miss Greenway. What was your relationship with Mr. Matson?
We were going to be married.
Mr. Matson was married already.
Yes, but he was going to get a divorce.
The little cow's lying.
Mrs. Matson, I will stand for no interruptions when a witness is giving evidence.
But she's lying. Norman wasn't going to leave me.
Mrs. Matson.
I'm sorry, my lord.
There will be no further repetition of this behaviour.
No.
Continue, Mr. Dealey.
My lord. So Mr. Matson told you that he wanted a divorce.
Yes.
Do you know if he'd mentioned this to Mrs. Matson?
Well, he told me he had.
Well, had he?
Well, I'm not sure.
What makes you uncertain?
Well, it was a row Rita and I had 2 days before she shot him.
Now, Miss Greenway, you must not prejudge the evidence. It's the jury's duty and not yours to decide whether or not Mrs. Matson shot her husband.
Oh, I'm sorry, my lord.
How did this row between you and Mrs. Matson start?
Well, she found Norman and me together.
And what happened?
Well, she started to scream and shout and get hysterical. And Norman slapped her face.
Did she mention a divorce?
Well, no. Actually, I did.
You did?
Well, yes, she said something about how I shouldn't get any ideas about her husband just because we were... Well, anyway, I said we were planning to get married as soon as a divorce came through.
And what was her reaction to that?
Well, she screamed even more and said I was mad. Said Norman would never leave her. I said he was going to after they'd finished that week at the 501. She said I wasn't going off with her husband. She'd kill him first.
She actually said that she would kill her husband first?
Yes.
How did Mr. Matson take this threat?
Well, he wasn't there to hear it. He had walked off.
And did you take the threat seriously?
Oh, yes. Rita's got a violent temper. You've no idea. She just goes mad.
Miss Greenway, were you present the night that Norman Matson was shot?
Yes. Oh, it was awful. The bullet went right through him.
Did you watch the act?
Yes, well, Norman had asked me to study the act so I could replace Rita when the time came.
She's lying.
Mrs. Matson...
But she is.
I
I
will
was
not
married
tell
to
you
Norman
again.
for 6 years, and he would never have let a brainless idiot like that assist him in the act.
Mrs. Matson, you will have every opportunity of putting your view when you are giving evidence. Meanwhile, I will stand no more of these interruptions. Mr. Dean.
Yes.
My lord, Miss Greenway, we may take it, I suppose, that you had studied the mechanics of this act very carefully over a long period of time.
Yes.
Now, did you observe Mrs. Matson load one of the guns that night?
Yes, well, I thought she'd made a mistake, or... Oh, I don't know.
So it was not usual for Mrs. Matson to load any of the guns?
Well, no. The whole point of the illusion was to involve the audience as much as possible. Make them load the guns and fire them, so there was no suggestion of any faking.
Did Mr. Matson make any sign to his wife that she might have made a mistake?
No. Like a good pro, he just went on with the act as if nothing had happened.
And the volunteers from the audience aimed and fired the guns?
Yes.
And Norman Matson fell dying to the floor?
Yes, but no one realised at first. But...
What did Mrs. Matson do?
Well, nothing. She just stood there and looked at him.
She did nothing?
Well, she finally went across to him.
And did you hear what Mr. Matson said to his wife?
No, well, I wasn't close enough. But one of the other dancers told me afterwards
Lord,
that he
Greenway.
was...
Here's...
You must not say what someone told you that somebody else said. It's not admissible in evidence, not in law. You must only say what you yourself saw or heard.
I understand, my lord.
Good.
Miss Greenway, did you have occasion to talk to Mrs. Matson?
Yes. Well, no, well, not actually talk.
Or what happened?
Well, it was in Frank Tyler's office. Norman had been brought there because there was a couch. He was unconscious, well, I think he was probably dead. Well, I went across to Rita and she was just standing there and staring into space and saying over and over again, "What have I done? What have I done?"
Thank you, Miss Greenway.
Miss Greenway, you say you first met Norman Matson at the Vegas Club.
Yes.
For how long was he playing there?
1 week.
Did you become lovers during that week?
My lord, is my learned friend's question relevant?
Yes, I think it is, Mr. Elliot. The witness will answer.
Well,
Answer yes or no, Miss Greenway. Did you become lovers?
yes.
After the first day?
No.
Second day, third day?
Well, after about 4 days.
Do you know if you were the only woman in the club with whom Norman Matson was successful?
I don't know what you mean.
I would have thought the question was perfectly clear, Miss Greenway. In his evidence, Mr. Tyler said that while he was at the 501 Club, Mr. Matson enjoyed several conquests. A certain stripper was mentioned.
Daisy Pratt, you mean? Well, I wouldn't exactly call her a conquest. She threw herself at anything in trousers.
So you did know he had other affairs?
Sometimes. It was living with her that drove him to it.
Miss Greenway.
Oh, I'm sorry, my lord. I didn't mean that.
So while he was at the 501 Club, Mr. Matson indulged in what would appear to have been his favourite pastime. Now, you're not expecting the jury to believe that when he was at the Vegas Club in Newcastle, he suddenly took vows of chastity, are you?
No, of course not.
So you were not the only woman in his life in Newcastle, were you?
I didn't know of any others.
Were you and Mr. Matson in love?
Yes.
And he proposed to you, did he?
Yes.
When was this?
Well, about a month after we met.
You're both working in the same club?
No. Norman was working the clubs in Manchester and in Yorkshire, and I used to come down from Newcastle to see him.
And all the time he was presumably pursuing other women?
I don't know.
It doesn't sound much like the action of a man in love, does it?
Well, Norman was like that. You just had to accept it.
You accepted it?
Yes.
Well, Mrs. Matson doesn't seem to have done.
Well, it was all right for her. She was married to him.
Yes, but you said that you believed he was going to marry you, so why did you turn a blind eye to his affairs?
What else could I do?
You said you thought Mr. Matson had asked his wife for a divorce.
Yes.
When did he do that?
Well, I'm not sure exactly.
But in your evidence you said that you had told Mrs. Matson.
Yes, but I already thought she knew.
And did she?
Well, I don't know.
Well, if Mr. Matson hadn't asked his wife for a divorce, surely that would suggest that he had no intention of doing so.
Mr. Lotterby, the witness cannot possibly answer that question.
My lord, my question was purely rhetorical.
Yes, Mr. Lotterby, I dislike rhetorical questions that are disguised as statements of fact. As you know, the proper place for rhetoric is in the final speeches to the jury.
I'm grateful for your lordship's guidance. Miss Greenway, it is true to say, is it not, that Norman Matson's act was very successful and popular?
Oh, yes. He was always offered more bookings than he could possibly accept.
Did he tour abroad much?
Mm-hmm. He toured a lot on the continent, and he was very popular in Germany particularly.
Did he tour anywhere else?
Well, I believed he toured America and South Africa and Australia.
He must have made quite a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. I suppose so.
Now, you said in reply to my learned friend that Mr. Matson had asked you to study the act so that you could take over from Mrs. Matson when the time came as his assistant.
Yes, that's right.
So he must have told you how all the illusions were worked?
Yes. Well, some of them.
Including, of course, the shooting.
Well, no, actually.
But that was his greatest illusion, wasn't it?
Yes.
You say you were the woman that he was going to marry, his future assistant.
Yes.
And yet he didn't tell you how the illusion was done.
Yes, but Norman was very secretive about the act.
Well, perhaps it was your idea to study the act, your idea to pursue him from club to club, your idea to take over from Mrs. Matson in an act which you yourself have said was successful and popular.
But Norman wanted me to. He wanted to marry me.
Are you sure, Miss Greenway? Weren't you just another of Norman Matson's conquests? Weren't you just a little more persistent than the others?
But he loved me. I know he did. He wanted to marry me.
No, Miss Greenway. I very much doubt that he did.
But it's true, it is. That's why she killed him.
The case of the Queen versus Matson will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court.